Dpeezy, welcome to Locked In, man. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. You've been on my wish list of guests since I first started over a year ago. I think you were one of the first prison content creators that came up on my TikTok.
Oh, okay, okay.
Did you start out on TikTok?
Yeah, that was where I started off. It was on 2020. I did a wet burrito, and it just went viral overnight. And I was like, I shall now make more jailhouse recipes.
And you're like in a different category of prison TikTok creators because you're not really talking about your prison experience like other prison content creators.
Mhm.
You're storytelling through your videos, which are entertainment. It's like such a cool concept.
Yeah, I try to do more things than just because prison. Like I wanted to do like acting kind of, and then the food, and also I do things like on different subjects too. Like I did the busting or disgusting, trying foods and stuff. But I always keep my jail thing going.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot. There's because the inspiration that I've given a lot of people, they've come up to me and be like, bro, I've never thought that I'd be able to do anything when I got out of jail, and just to see you being able to keep going and getting your son back and all this stuff. So it's like, oh, I got to keep going, for this motivation.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome. And I feel like people know you for the word bussin'.
yeah,
Like
hey,
that's what you
so
got to do
many
the
times,
impersonation.
so many times they'll be like, hey, you're the bussing guy. What's up? I'm like, or Dpeezy. No, it's cool. It's cool. I like it though.
No, like it's you've created such a good brand, man. Congratulations on it
Thank
all.
you.
It's really awesome. And just like it's entertainment. Like at COVID really 2020, that was imagine if you came out 5 years later.
I know.
Like
No,
you got it right. It was your time to
right.
really like do that.
Yeah, like a lot of people, when I was in jail, I remember my barber was like, it's just a minor setback for a major comeback, and like, I didn't know what I was gonna do, man. And then once I see my son, he's watching TikToks, and I was like, oh, I could do this. And I started doing a couple things, and then I seen someone make a sandwich that they would make in jail. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna make the wet burrito because I made that every day. And then boom, it's just yeah, actually me getting locked up was kind of like a blessing in disguise, bro, because I was on Xannies every day. Like I had prescription, the 2 milligram bars, and I was taking lean. I was getting the prescription for that plus 90 milligrams of methadone. Like I would lie to them and be like, "Hey, I don't feel the 30 milligrams. Can you increase it?" And they go 60, and I was like, "Let me see how high I can get it." So I was like waking up first thing. I used to work at 6 in the morning, so I'd wake up, go to the methadone clinic, and then go to work from there at like 5 in the morning. And it was just became to a point to where like you can't live without it. Your body's dependent on it. So I was even thinking to myself, man, it's like the only way I could get off of this is if I was to get locked up. It had no responsibilities, no job, nothing to go to. And then I get locked up. So it was like a blessing in disguise, like
I mean, most of the people that come on the show, it's the best thing that could ever happen to them. And
yeah.
not so often do we have like the big prison influencers
Hmm.
on the show. It's a lot of people that have just gotten out or have found success not on social media. So it's super cool to hear
Mm.
your perspective because you are one that, like JD Delay, like myself, like some of these others have created this whole brand. I mean, what do you have across the board? Like 5 million followers
Yeah,
now?
about 5 million, a little bit over 5 million.
You're on YouTube too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm at 1.97 so almost at 2 million there.
On YouTube, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's gone up a lot since I've
Yeah, I
seen
know.
it.
It has this boost. Like when it starts going up, it's like it will go up like 100,000.
Yeah, shorts probably really helped you,
Yeah,
the
that's what it
creation
is.
of shorts.
So
Yeah.
I was like, so my whole plan was, so from TikTok do that, and then go on YouTube and then use the shorts to build my followers up until when I start ready to do my long form.
That's exactly what I did. And that's so
Oh,
smart. Like I didn't post a single long form until I knew what I was going to do for long form.
mm,
So I had my first 3,000 subscribers. This is right when shorts first dropped
right,
a
right.
couple years ago, and I just did that. And then when I was ready, I did the long form, and now I do a little bit of shorts,
Yeah,
a
that's
little
what I've
bit of
been doing
long
too. I've been
form.
mostly
Yeah.
focusing on shorts because that's like what I do on my other platforms.
Hmm.
But I want to do some like I don't know. I want to do some long form, but like different stuff.
Well, we were just talking about something that might be,
Yeah, like the cooking
Yeah.
or even going to do something for the inmates out of jail.
Well, I could get you into jails too. We actually did a commissary cook-off inside a prison.
No
Yeah,
way.
we have some like you could do that. You could do shows. we're working on doing live shows. Me and JD are planning on doing live shows at like different states. That
Like,
could be a thing we incorporate, like where we do the podcast live on a
oh, okay.
stage. People buy tickets. They will do merch, meet and greets,
Oh, that's cool.
interviews. Maybe you do like a cooking segment and
Yeah.
kind of like tour the country. It's never really been done before.
Oh man, actually, that would be
I
awesome,
think that would
man.
be really cool to have you
Yeah.
on the lineup too. So we'll definitely talk about that.
All right, for sure, for sure.
So we're at Spotify in LA right now. Shout out to Spotify.
Shout out Spotify.
Did you grow up in California?
No, I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I stayed out there until I caught my first felony at 18, and it was for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. That's what they call it out there. It's probably GTA out here, but I had the keys, so it wasn't.
Was
Yeah,
it your vehicle or no?
was it mine?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
it
so you
was. It
stole
was
it.
yeah, it was
Uh,
we were walking home one day. I was like 16, and we were like opening cars, and I had the keys fall out of the thing, and I was like, no way, boom, and then I was so messed up off of Xannies. I went to go pick up my homie, which is down the street, but somehow ended up in Waller County, like a whole different county inside of a ditch, halfway in a ditch. And the cops knocking out my window, and they're like, "Hey, you need an ambulance?" And I was like, I woke up, and I was like, "What the?" I tried to turn my car on and leave, but I'm in a ditch, so I couldn't go nowhere. And then so they gave me, I had pills on me too, so it was like possession plus unauthorized use.
what about your family? Did were they in Texas with you?
Yeah, my family was there, and then my aunt had moved to California, and she was like, "If I have your uncle bail you out, you got to move to California. You're getting in too much trouble there." So I was like, "Okay, just get me out of jail." You know what I'm saying? And then so yeah, that's how I ended up like moving here and then back and forth. And that same case, I had to go back. So I caught that case like in 20 or like 2000, 2001. And I had to, so after all probation and everything, transferred out to California. I ended up like missing a payment, and they set a court date for me in Texas, but I'm in California. So I didn't go to that court date. So boom, Texas had a warrant out for my arrest. And so for the longest, I would get pulled over here, and then they would, "Oh, you have a warrant in Texas." I'm like, "Oh, crap." And then they would take me to the police station. "Oh, Texas don't want you. You're getting released." Okay, all right. So that happened like 3 or 4 times.
Isn't that crazy? Like I've encountered so many people where just like you're wanted in one state and it continues to jam you up,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
other
It's
state won't resolve it.
right. And then they're like, "Oh, they don't want you, but you still have to go through the whole process, booking and release and all that. It sucks." Um,
What did your parents do for work growing up?
so my dad is in the Marines, and my mom, she was a waitress.
Okay. And
hmm
did you have siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother and a sister, and I have 2 new Cuban sisters in Jersey.
Were you guys close growing up?
Me and my brother and sister here in California and Texas, yeah, we're really close.
Now, growing
Yeah.
up, were you like good in school? Did you go to school? Did you like
Yeah, okay,
school? Yeah.
so I was good in school. I was playing sports, football every year, every school. I would play basketball, track, and football, and I was really good at it.
Mhm.
I used to break records and everything. And then once I got to like 10th grade, I had like a girlfriend pass away, and it just kind of like put me under a little bit. And I started hanging out with like a little bit of the older crowd,
Mhm.
doing what they're doing and thinking it's cool, and then ended up following a whole different path that I shouldn't have been, to where one day I had got into a fight into my classroom. And it was like after our school was going through a bunch of riots, and my coach was like, "I never thought I'd be saying this, but you have to clean out your locker." And they sent me to alternative school. That was even worse. They had like, I met like all the dealers in the neighborhood. I met like everyone doing like illegal stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that opened up the door, and I ended up hanging out with those people more instead of my fellow athletes and classmates at my school.
Did you have like a career path you wanted to do before you got arrested that first time?
Man, honestly, I wanted to go to college and get a scholarship, play football, or go to the Olympics, run track. Because I would like get first place in all my events in track most of the time. And so that was like what I wanted to do. And also music. Like I used to write music and do raps and stuff
Like
like that.
sing? You sing
I
too?
like rapping and stuff,
Okay,
or
right.
melodies and
I feel like
stuff.
you could incorporate that into what you got going on now.
I think so. I've been wanting to, but I just wanted the right, like I want it to be the right beat and everything. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something soon. I just didn't want to talk too much about it because people are gonna be like expecting. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
yeah,
just
of
want to be like,
course.
boom.
How
Yeah.
often you get recognized, like when you're on the street and stuff?
Oh man, a lot,
A lot,
a
right?
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I don't feel that famous or whatever, but I get recognized so much everywhere. Even my son, he'll be counting. He'd be like, "That's 4 times already." Like,
That's
it's
so cool,
it's
man.
cool, man. I remember the first time, one of the first times, me and my family, I was at the halfway house, and I had got a pass to go on a weekend or something. So we went up to Big Bear. And then people recognized me in Big Bear like first time, and I'm like in the store taking pictures, and like my family's there looking at me. I was like, "You see, this is crazy."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
it's cool.
how old are you when you get to California? You're
I was
18-ish?
18, yeah,
18.
18-ish, and then I was like back and forth, and then I had to do the when I went back to do that time, it was 2008, and I got out. No, it was like end of 2008, and I got out in 2011, and then I moved back to California to Long Beach.
And then, so you did that time in Texas.
Yeah,
That
they
was
gave me the max, bro. So after I did the probation, I did my time or whatever there, and got it transferred, and I went back. And then since I was absconded for so long, they gave me the max. It was 2 years, and well, it was 14 months, but I waited 3 months in California for them to pick me up, and then I had to do 3 months for the DUI that I caught in California too.
Oh,
So it was just like
man.
I felt like I was never gonna get released.
So Texas prisons, is that as bad as like what they're saying about now with the heat and
Oh
everything?
my gosh, bro! Like it is crazy. Like okay, so I went to Bartlett State Jail out there, right? And it's like in the middle of nowhere, man. And yeah, it was. They have like big old fans for when it's hot, like no air conditioning. It's fans, so you're in there hot. And then for some reason in the summer, they get grasshoppers or crickets. There's crickets everywhere on your blankets and everything. And so I had the top bunk and I had the fan right there. So that was kind of cool. Except when it's cold, they give you 2 blankets and they give you a jacket. So I mean, it was
Does it get
cool.
cold in there?
Yeah,
Really?
it
It
gets
does?
it gets when in the winter it gets like super cold because it's like everything's coming from the outside. It's weird.
Well, when you say cold, is that like 60 degrees? Is that cold for you guys? Because, West Coast and down
Probably, yeah, that's probably
cold for us is like -10
yeah,
on
no,
the
see,
East
no,
Coast.
that -10, probably around like 50.
Okay, because yeah, like back home, they're breaking out the jackets. November, I think they start giving you the jackets
Mm.
and the feds right
It
away.
gets pretty cold in Texas though, like in the winter. Like it gets super hot in the summer and then super cold in the winter.
So that first bid you did, is that where you developed like the food knowledge about prison, or would that come later on?
Somewhat. The first one,
Like, what's the first prison meal you ever made and experienced? Mine was mofongo.
oh really?
Yeah, I remember seeing the Spanish crew kind of putting it together. They let me break bread with them. They said,
Hmm.
"Here, bring a sausage, this and that." And I was amazed that they could take chips,
Right.
add some water into the bag,
Make a whole thing.
fold it up, and it's this beautiful meal.
It's
Incredible.
I know it's crazy. So my first one was just a spread with the sweet and sour pork.
Okay.
And I didn't even know. I was like, what? I thought it was so good. Like I kept making that every day. I was putting like Cheez-Its in my little soup. I had like a little plastic bag. I'd make my soup and everything in one thing, and I'd make my sweet and sour pork and then mix it all together. And I was like, I was content with
Now, when you
that.
say pork, you mean the pork grinds, right?
Yeah.
That's what they would use for that?
For the sweet and sour pork, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
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 When I was okay.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say we did that on the commissary cook-off a little bit, and it's
Mm.
it's kind of gross. It's like flappy or whatever.
Yeah, it's a little soft, but I don't know. I like honestly, I've made some pretty good ones where people try it and they're like, "Hey, can I have some more?" So I don't know. It's that's one of my favorite things.
I think one of the most underrated dishes, like especially if you don't have money in prison, is ramen noodle, some mayonnaise, some
Chips.
hot sauce, and the chips. That
Yeah,
makes the dish.
for sure.
You put the chips in there to give it the crunch.
Yep. I know
Oh
people, man. I
man.
know people when I was in the halfway house, people were making that just, on a daily thing.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. So you do that first bid, you get out, you're in California now. What do you got going on?
So I started going back to college, or I started college at Orange Coast College in Orange County. Went there for like a year. I got a little job. Um, and then everything was going right, and then I ended up falling into like it was an addiction. So I was like started to sell coke, and I was selling pills, and then and then I ended up using it. You know what I'm saying? You can't get high if you don't supply. So now,
Mhm.
no. So what happened is oh my gosh, it's crazy. I went to go sell some to somebody. And then he was like, "Hey, is it good? I'm gonna rock it up and see. So if it's not, I'm gonna beat your ass." I'm like, "Man, whatever." So he ends up rocking it up, and he calls me back 20 minutes later. "Hey, let me get some more." I go back, and he was like, "You want to try it?" And I'm like, "Hell no." And then he kept convincing me. Ended up trying the fucking crack, right? And then so I go back and I'm like trying to cook up all the stuff I had myself and everything, and it was just so I was like I was buying coke, rocking it up, smoking that, getting hotels, losing everything. Like I just started losing everything from that, right? And then I went to a heroin addiction, bro. It's like too many addictions, you know what I'm saying? And then luckily at the end of that, I had got locked up again, and I withdrew and everything. I was like, oh hell nah. And plus, man, I had like a lot of marks on my arms and everything. Yeah, it was bad. I'm glad I got past all that.
What do you think that trigger was? Because you were trying to get on track for that year, and then all of a sudden it gets derailed.
I think it's just people that I met that kind of like was, I wasn't like officially mentally there to be like, I'm not gonna be doing that no more. I was just doing good, and then I was like, oh, maybe I could just do a little bit or whatever. Still young, trying to figure it out. And yeah, I mean, there was a guy that I would go to. Um, Actually, my friend had told me that, oh yeah, I got a friend that has Xannies, because I was telling him that's what I used to do in Texas. And then that's kind of how the whole door opened, and that guy had like everything else, you know.
Yeah. So what do you ultimately end up getting sentenced to prison for this last? This was the last bid,
Well,
right?
this last time was all right. So they charged me. I had a firearm, possession of firearm, and discharging a firearm, right?
Mhm.
And possession of what's it called, ammunition. And then they gave me 2 counts of child endangerment because the gun went off in the bathroom, and then my son and my stepson was in the living room, right? So they tried to give me, well, they did. They gave me 5 felonies off of this one. But they said if I was to sign to go upstate, I would get 16 with half and only get charged with the firearm, right? But if I go upstate, since I was born in the Marines in Okinawa, Japan, I have to deal with immigration. They had did that to me last time. So I was like, well, this only choice I got is to sign for a year in county and then take the 5 felonies. So yeah, that's what happened the last time, man.
And that was the one that you just got out of prison for. So
Yeah,
you're only in there for a year.
it was like a little less than a year because
Okay.
of the little kick out.
And that these were the only two times you went to prison, that first time and then that one?
Yeah, well, no, I had another one, commercial burglary in Orange County. This was during the whole addiction stage.
Yeah, yeah.
It was in Orange County. Um, so one of the times I had got busted, I was like going into Target and Walmart. I was taking like Xbox controllers, games, and then I would take them to GameStop and sell them for cash, right? And I was just doing it. It was little petty cash, nothing big. Kept doing that. Ended up getting caught up for that. And then so they gave me theft with prior conviction. I got bailed out on that. And then while I was bailed out on that, I knew this gas station that my friend used to work at in Orange County, and he was like, "Oh, they keep the money like a safe under the register, but inside of a cigar box." So I was told this girl, I was like, "Hey, it's midnight. He's gonna walk you to the bathroom if you ask for it." So I told her to go ask him to use the restroom. So she asked him. They walked out, and I went through the little window that they open for at night. Well, I squeezed up in there, went and I grabbed the box, and then I opened the door and I jumped in the car, ready to go. If I would have left, I would have got away. But then like the girl was still there, so I was like, "Come on, come on!" And the guy was like, the guy someone's running. He already noticed. He was like, "I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police." I'm like, "Fuck!" I'm just gonna leave. Then eventually, like I didn't want. She was still with them. I was like, "Man, look, I'll give you the money back. Just let us go." And he was like, "Okay, fine, fine, fine." I gave him the thing. Boom, cops rolled up.
Wow.
So they gave me commercial burglary for that, and then for the theft with the prior, they gave me second degree burglary. So with those, they gave me a year in a county year in Orange County, and then I did 8. I did have to do 8 months out of that at the farm,
What's a farm?
bro. It was like Camp Snoopy, man. So first you're at main jail in Orange County, and then if you don't have you're not violent or whatever and everything like that, they send you to the farm to work. And it's pretty much like you're working in the kitchen at the main jail that serves the inmates, or you're working on the farm that grows the potatoes that they eat. Like they grow everything over there, and then they send it to the main jail. And so you're staying in I was staying in some tents out there, man, bro. They were bringing they would have tobacco. They had everything there. I remember we were in the back on yard smoking one time, and then the guards are like, um, smoking is bad for your health. I repeat, smoking is bad for your health. We're like, oh shit. Like they said on the announcement, like the loudspeaker. We're like, oh shit, they can see us. Like it's obvious. There's a big old smoke. We're hiding behind this tree that's like, you know, very thin. And we're just trying to smoke or whatever. But it was pretty cool. I had this girl bringing me a lot of stuff too. So I had like lockers full. Yeah, it's cool.
Like outside food and whatnot. That sounds exactly like in federal
Well,
prison
not
too.
food, but like razors, Mach 3s, lighters. I got eye drops for, when we bring in weed. Tobacco buglers, like unlimited.
You know what's interesting is that these camps and whatnot, guys aren't smuggling in like weapons. They're just smuggling in
Yeah.
things to make their lifestyle better.
Right,
So
right.
like if the prison just had that to begin with,
They'd be chilling.
yeah, no one's bringing in weapons there
Nah.
was one case in the US recently where like a guy brought a gun in during a camp. But
I
overall,
think I heard about that.
yeah, I think it was in Atlanta or something, but overall that doesn't happen. No one's smuggling in weapons.
Yeah, because, you just want to do your time and then get
Peacefully,
over.
yeah.
Especially if you're in a working thing like that, you just want to, you're not there for nothing too serious.
Yeah.
So you just want to do your time and then get out. And if you're gonna have something that's gonna get you more time, you're trying to want to stay away from that. 'Cause that's what I did. I wanted to just do my time and get out. A lot of people would be in there politicking though, But so when I came to California, the guard was like, when I got to California jail, they were like, "Who you run with?" And I was like, "I don't bang." And they were like, "No, who you run with?" And I was like, "I'm from Houston, man." And then he was like, "Let me see your last name. You're over there with the Asians and others."
They
I
put
was
you with
like,
the Asians.
and I was like, "Damn, y'all just be segregating people like that over here." Like I was tripping out from that. I was like, I remember I called my friend. I was like, "Man, they're so racist in this jail, bro. They separate everybody."
Were you the minority in California as
Yeah.
an Asian? I know when I had a
Yeah.
couple, my bunkmate was Asian, and there was like 4 Asians in I think the unit.
We had like 8. So that's why they put the others together. If you're Asian, Indian, Turkish, whatever, you run together. And in Orange County, it was like the blacks and Asians. You would, like when they do the announcements at night, they'd be like, "Brothers and Asians, thank you for another day." So like that was that.
Now,
and
what
then-
about in Texas though? Who were you running with anyone, or you stayed
No,
solo?
Texas, I was pretty solo. I mean, you get your little crew of who you hanging out with in there and stuff, but it was nothing like here where there was like a lot of gang influence. It's pretty like they put everybody with everybody, So I was like really like struck when I was like, the hell, they just really segregate us like that?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy how they just. I'm sure they probably tried to bunk you with an Asian bunkmate right off the bat.
Yeah,
or
but
at
no,
least
you
as
know what? It
close
was
as they
cool
could.
because they put me with like a Southsider, the Mexican, and they're like, "You think you're gonna be all right?" I was like, "Bro, I'm cool with everybody, man. I'm not tripping or whatever." And luckily, I had like a few of the Mexican Southsiders bunkies. All of them were cool. I got the numbers and everything we be talking. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe it's just me coming from Texas. I don't see it like that, or I don't know. Some people just be incarcerated so much that they just want to politic. But there's a lot of politickers too.
Oh, absolutely. Now, do you think that year in county you did your last time actually helped your brand, because it's a lot harder to make prison food
Yes.
compared to a regular
Yes,
prison?
that's what I'm saying. Like, I try to do most of my videos without using a microwave and just using the hot water or the stuff they get you. But yeah, I think so. Because it's kind of different. Like a lot of people cook with the microwaves, and then I was making everything like hot water, mixing stuff together. And also, I mean, help my brand too by just helping me clearing my
Yeah.
mind, getting off all those drugs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's-
So you get out of prison in 2020.
Mhm.
How do you get this idea to do all of this?
Well, so how I told you I was doing music. Like,
Yeah.
I used to be like an entertainer type. Like, I was focused on that. So in high school, I learned how to make music on a computer. I'm using this little headset mic as a mic, and I'm making songs. And I'd go and drop a CD with the cover on it. I had my friend take a picture of me. I had SpongeBob on it, like all this stuff. I'm always trying to be, making videos. I was in drama and stuff. So like once my son was watching TikTok and I'm seeing videos, and I'm laughing at the videos. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I could do that. And then I just ran with it after that.
Did you ever think about getting a normal job after?
I went back to my old job and I told them, I was like, because I've been there for 10 years, So when I was locked up, I was actually getting my holiday pay and everything still, So I was like, cool. I got out and I picked up my last check, and they said that they're like, oh, if we have some openings, and I'm like, oh, well, I forgot how many I had, like 500 followers or
Mhm.
500K followers already by the time I went. And I was like, yeah, but it's not the money that I need to take care of myself and my family. And she was like, all right, if anything comes up. And then so I'm like, damn, man, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I was getting unemployment at the time too. So I was like my last unemployment check around December. And I had used all my money to buy my son's gifts and my girl's gifts. And I was like, it's all right. I could be without money for a week or so until I get paid again. And then I get a message from Facebook and from YouTube that says I am able to be monetized or I'm invited to the program. And it was just like blessing, bro, like perfect timing. And then so um I didn't get no money until like the next month and a half or so. But it was like I remember the next month I had checked to pick up my son. I was in the halfway house and on the weekends I'd go see him. I had checked my balance, like, okay, let me see how much I have tomorrow to buy food and stuff. And I look and I had like 15K right there. And I was like, what the? Like, it was just like a big blessing that came out at a hard time. And it was just like, kind of like God saying, like, if you do good, keep your mind right, I'll look out for you.
Mhm.
But even though he looked out at me, because I should have died, bro. I crashed when I got the DUI. I fell asleep behind the wheel on the 5, and I crashed where the divides the carpool. There's a wall, right? So you go like that for the carpool, and I crashed right there, boom, and there was a V on the front of my car. People were like, I don't know. They showed me pictures. They were like, I don't know how you survived. But a lot of people were saying because I was so messed up already, and my body was like loose, so I don't know if that helped. I just had some bruises. And then the other time, I crashed like 3 cars messed up in Texas. Sorry, mom. Like 3 of hers, man. And then
You got
someone
to think for cars.
and another friend too. Like my friend fell asleep. I wanted to go somewhere. We were both on Xannies. I took his car, BMW, and crashed it straight into a wall, bro. Because I was like trying to go fast and turn. So like all these times, bro, I should have, like so now I'm like, man, this is really a blessing. I thank God all the time. Um, just just for being here, man.
Yeah. Do you think that if that job took you back, you wouldn't be where you're at now?
So when I had started my TikTok, so a lot of things that I started in the past, I was like, okay, how can I be successful as this? Is going hard on it and not giving up. That's how it's gonna separate me from other people, is not giving up and being consistent. So I already had that mindset going in. I told my roommate, I was like, hey bro, I'm gonna get on this TikTok. And I was like, I'm not gonna stop till I hit like a million followers. And he was like, yeah, okay, all right. And then I just kept going with it.
Yeah. When you first started out, did you have a lot of people around you that were kind of like laughing or not taking it
Hmm.
seriously or saying this isn't like, I remember being in the car, me making TikToks because that's how I started
Uh-huh.
5 times a day, just telling prison stories, and people around me in the community always had something negative to say
Yeah, yeah,
about it.
always. Yeah, that's
But I was gaining support from people all the way across the country, but my
hmm
local hometown wasn't
yeah.
feeling it, you
They're
know?
like, bro, you too old to be doing
Exactly.
TikTok.
Why
Yeah.
leave prison behind you? Leave,
Yeah.
don't, I'm talking about how to poop in prison, how to courtesy
Yeah.
flush, all of
Uh-huh.
this. So what was that like for you along the
Well,
way?
they're like, oh, you must want to go back or something. But um, man, honestly, I've been dealing with like 50% hate since I started. Like my comments, maybe 40% of it will be like, "Oh, why don't you go back to jail? These videos are stupid. Stop. Oh, they don't have none of this in jail. Like all this. You don't know nothing. Stop making these dumb videos." But then you have some support or whatever. It's like 30% support. Then you have just like the rest of them is just random comments about LeBron James' legacy or something.
You need the hate though.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
tell everyone that comes on my show, because sometimes guests will argue with the comments on the haters.
Hmm.
I'm like, you need the hate.
Yeah.
People are always going to hate. It's good for
It
engagement.
is. Like I've had other creators tell me, like I've seen them like argue back with people in the comments. I'm like, bro, don't argue back with them. They're helping you out. They're watching the video. They're engaging. They're leaving something for other people to comment on. I was like, just like I used to put smiley faces. So if they
I
say
do
something
that
weird,
too. Yeah,
oh, okay.
something you do something slick back or
Yeah, just
something.
saying
Be
that it's not bothering
sarcastic.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They'll be
So
like, "Oh, you took it in the acid prison." I'll be like, "You're damn right, I
yeah,
did."
you just gotta
it."
go with like don't take it personal because that'll really mess with some. I've seen people be like mad and like almost crying because like a girl like crying because I'm
I
like,
think that's one of the hardest parts. Once you get over that hump, because I struggled with that in the beginning when I started
mm,
out. reading every comment. I still read the comments, but it doesn't affect me
Right.
the way it used to.
Mhm.
And you either have to build that tough skin
Mhm.
or you can't do it
Yep.
because you're never gonna get over that if you can't.
You know what's crazy? Last year, yeah, you're never gonna get over it if you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because they're always gonna be coming. But last year, man, it was so weird because like I had moved out of the halfway house finally, or the sober living, and everything was going cool. But I just got hit with like a depression, man. I didn't want to see nobody, even my peoples around me. Like I just wanted to be like, let me just hide out until I feel better and I can interact. Like I don't know how it came on. I've never really had no depression like that before, but like the comments, those negative comments at that time, like were hitting me, man. I'm like, what the? The comments don't ever bother me. I ended up, my friend called me and gave me this, told me to read this book on YouTube. It's called The Master Key System, about unlocking your full potential, whatever. And I did that and actually kind of got me out of it. Like I was doing like meditation and everything to clear my mind, stop overthinking things. And so, yeah,
Dude,
that
it's
helped.
tough. I have those days, man. Like I get like depressed because it's just like it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, that you have like those creative slumps and it's
Hmm.
like you gotta push through.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I spend a lot more time like by myself now than ever. Just like I like being at home. I don't like going out.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
I just stay at home, watch a show,
Hmm.
cook dinner. Like
Yeah.
my values have changed since
Yeah,
starting this whole thing, you know?
for
I only
sure.
go out like if it's an event related to helping grow my brand
Hmm.
in the most
That's
part, you know?
smart. Yeah.
That's what I do. It's strategy. Like I'm in California
Mhm.
working, you
Working,
know,
yeah.
to build it.
Otherwise, you get caught up in something you shouldn't, you know?
Exactly. I mean, I don't think anything really good happens at 10, 11, 12, 1
Yeah.
o'clock at
So
night.
at the halfway house, they tell you these classes, and usually they're like, they tell you set your boundaries on this. I used a lot of stuff that I learned from there too, but they're like, usually past midnight, there's nothing good that's gonna be going on outside. Just stay in, and
Yeah, I mean, you see some people that you're friends with and stuff that they go in the clubs every night. They're doing this, they're doing
I know
that,
that's too
and it's
much.
I can't do it.
I can't
I'm
do
in
it
bed
either.
by 9 o'clock now, 10 o'clock.
I'm not in bed. I go to sleep kind of late. That's why I was like, I don't get up too early.
I know. I
But
got that from you.
but I'll just be chilling at home. I'll be doing my editing or watching YouTube or playing my PlayStation or the
Yeah.
PC. I became a homebody. Even when I was younger and like wilding out on the streets, it was just me going with the homies to a park, smoking, and then yeah. So got caught for uh, burglary of a motor vehicle. Where you break into the car. It was
Yeah.
in Texas. And it was so dumb. My friend had came over and he had like a bottle of some Xannies. He had a pint of some lean and some wheat. We had a quarter pound and we were chilling, right? And so after you take the Xannies, for some reason it makes you want to do like weird shit, like come up on stuff, like steal and everything. So we're like chilling, we're playing GT, we're playing Grand Theft Auto on my Xbox. And then we were like, hey man, this is boring. Hey, let's go bust a mission. Or so we say, let's go bust a mission. So we go in my closet, we put on like all black and everything. And then we go and end up getting caught up. And then my mom found everything in my room. She said she like sold it or got rid of it or something. But I'm like, bro, if we would have just stayed, we had everything to be chilling, you know?
Yeah. But at the same time, you wouldn't have what you have now
Yeah, oh yeah,
if you
for
didn't
sure.
do that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that like I can't say that I have any regrets because it led me to be where I am right now. And it's like everything I tell my son, everything you're gonna go through as a young man is just building your character for when you become a full man, you know? So that's what I feel
Absolutely.
like. And that's kind of what separates everybody is their own personal life stories that creates the mold of who they become.
And that's what this podcast is all about.
Oh, nice.
So I really want to dive into the food aspect. What do you
Mhm.
think is the most creative thing that either you've made or you've seen made in prison food wise?
Um,
Like totally out of the box. And I know you've done hundreds and hundreds of
yeah, I
videos.
mean, honestly, when the Laffy Taffy kind of tripped me out because I was like, where are they getting this gelatin? Are they getting that stretchy stuff from Jamaica? And once I found out it was just powdered creamer and water and Kool-Aid, I'm like, what the? So that really tripped me out.
And how do they make that?
So so you put a little thing, pour in a bunch of creamer, like like a pile, and then you just pour in like a 2 capfuls of water, very little, and then put your Kool-Aid in there and mix and mix. It looks like it's not mixing, it's all powdery, but it's mixing. You smush all the bubbles. And then once it kind of gets semi-moist or whatever, you put on some gloves and start pushing it and compressing it. And then it starts forming into a little ball, and then you keep mixing it up, and next thing you know, you're going to be stretching it out. It's crazy. I was like, how did they figure that out?
And they can do different flavors based on the Kool-Aid pouch.
Yeah. So the other day, I did a video, rainbow strips. I used like 5 different ones, and I put them all together, then cut them up into little pieces. So it was like a little piece that had 5 different Kool-Aid flavors on it.
Wow.
That was good.
And how much will these taffy strips sell for?
Usually, so they used to do 3 for $1. Sometimes you could do 2 for $1, if you really need the hustle, but it was usually 3 for $1.
Were you selling food at all in prison, or you kind of just?
No, I was buying it, and like, cause like I learned a lot of the stuff from my bunkies that had came in. Like one guy came in, and when I learned the wet burrito, that's what we were making a lot. We were like, hey, you want to throw in on a wet burrito? We're gonna make some later. He was new to the cell, and then he was like, oh sure, yeah, what you need? He throws in, and I asked him, I was like, you want to cook? Or you know how to cook anything? He was like, nah, I don't know how to make shit. And I was like, all right, for sure, I'll make it. Boom, made it. And the next day, I was like, hey, what's up? You want to throw in a wet burrito? He was like, bro, you get another wet burrito? He was like, I'm going to make something. And he ended up making like some Chinese food. And the next day, he made like ceviche. I was like, bro, you say you didn't know how to cook. He was like, I just didn't want y'all asking me every time. So, yeah, he came in, and he was facing life. But he was cool peoples, man. Showed me a lot of recipes that I'd never even imagined.
Food really is something that people bond over in prison, like breaking bread on the meal. There's the guys that hustle that you bring them like $10 and they make you a whole tray.
Like the ice guy or the sugar. If you need real sugar, hit the kitchen workers up. Or
anything,
the ice,
or bringing back your chow dish to spice it up, make it better. Anything like that, like chicken day, we would always spice that back up.
Now, what's crazy is in LA County, since it was going through COVID, bro, it was the craziest job I've ever been to. And I've been to like, 5 or 6. When I got extradited, they put me in all different jails. But, bro, it was like, so I was still coming off of being from Xannies and stuff. So when I'm like waking up and seeing, it was just so dirty and so loud and no organization. Like the guards didn't even want to walk down the tiers, right, because of COVID. And then so inmates, when they would close all the tiers for the nighttime, they would put books so it would go clink, 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 and it wouldn't close all the way. Next thing you see everybody running around. You got fights. Even the people were like the lifers. They were like, they run it. You know what I'm saying? So they would be like, hey, we need to check someone in cell 3. Hey, guard, pop cell 3. And then they're running it. They're going to cell 3. All you hear is pop, 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 shoes squeaking, pop, pop, pop. Comes out. All right, close cell 3. Hey, it's a trip, bro. It was the crazy. Like LA County was like, you gotta be like vigilant, like ready to survive. That's how I felt there. The other places I was just chilling, laid back, but over there I had to be like, all right, keeping on my toes. All my cellies were cool though. They helped me. Dude was buying those spice chips. I don't know if y'all got that out there.
No, like seasoning packets. We have
no, the like synthetic weed.
Oh, like K2.
Yeah,
yes,
K2.
Yes, K2.
They be having that out there?
Yeah, guys would be in the bathroom. They'd set up a chair.
Yeah.
And then when it was count time, the inmates would pick up the chair and carry the guy back and kind of post him up. That's so bad.
Damn, like that?
And
they
they'd
must
bring
have
the
been...
guys to the shoe, and then they'd let them out because you don't test for anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my bunkie was getting... So first time we got it, let me see if I can show you the size of it.
And this comes in on like paper, right? Like
yeah,
strips?
So they get a mail, a letter, and it's just soaked in. So they cut off these little strips. Like this will probably be like $50 to $100 maybe, and then you would only need like that to make a blunt.
And how much that'll sell for $50 right there?
That'll be like $25 or whatever. It also depends on how strong it is, because some people have like, oh, you got the stuff that'll take it to the moon. I remember, and it's like, I don't know if they like soak it more or something, but yeah. So I was like, bro, what the hell is that? And then at first they were calling it THC strips. And I was like, oh yeah, THC strips, whatever. Yeah, how much? $50. Damn. I ended up throwing in half with my bunkie, and then we get it, and it's this little thing. So we have to take a razor and cut it up into little pieces and make a line, right? And then he got Bible paper, the very beginning of the Bible where it's like all white. He gets that, and then he puts he ordered tea from Commissary, tea bag, and then he puts tea in it, rolls it up, and then I remember it was like there was three of us smoking, and then I had hit it. I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling it yet, and then so my other guy hits it, and then another one hits it, and I started feeling it. I was like, damn, how did I get high from that? And then next thing you know, the other guy's up on top. He's on the top bunk, and he's just like, nah, that ain't no weed, man. And he's like tripping out. I'm like, bro, you all right? He was like, nah. I'm like, damn. So I didn't really have no bad trip outs like that.
Yeah.
But I've seen people like, they call it catting out. They're like, damn, dude, catted out. I remember he was like, one dude down the cell, I can't move. I can't move. And they were like, shut up, fool, you don't get us caught up. Like, I don't know. But yeah, that whole spice stuff is crazy.
Yeah, dude, that I've seen people go crazy, lose their minds over that
Yeah,
stuff.
bro, it's like, I don't know if it's when they do a bunch of it or something, or it's just other people have different reactions to it. But yeah, that tripped me. It made me scared to do it. You know, I'm like, bro, I don't want to mess with that no more. If that's gonna happen to me.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then people were bringing in like in LA County, like meth too, but in the carts. So, bro, it was the nastiest stuff ever because they were like passing around a rig, like a needle,
Hmm.
to do this stuff, and they would share it with like everybody on whoever's doing it on
That's
the tier.
gross,
I'm
yeah.
like, bro, and then so one of the guys, I was like, bro, don't you have Hep C? He was like, yeah, or whatever. I'm like, damn, hell no, man.
Are guys open about if they have Hep C or HIV or anything in prison? Are they common about it?
I don't know about AIDS, but most of the people that I've met that had Hep C, they were pretty.
They'll say, "Hey, I
Yeah,
have
because
that."
they'd be like, oh yeah, I take medication for it or whatever. Um, and I know that's when I'm like, oh man, do I gotta watch out for this or what? You know?
Well, some guys, like when someone's sick, they'll overthink it and they'll think if you just touch the person, they're gonna get it. There are those guys that have been
Right.
down a while
Hmm.
that if you have something, they think you're gonna like die from
Yeah,
it.
so I was at first I didn't know how to react. I'm like, okay, so actually two of my bunkers had Hep C, and from sharing needles or something, but I didn't really know. And then like I was just like, well, we're not doing anything. We're exchanging body fluids or anything like that or whatever. So it's cool. And then I got along. I remember because they're all Southsiders,
Mhm.
and I was the only Asian in there, and it was a 4-man cell in LA County. And I remember at the beginning that they had to ask the big homie dude doing life. He was like, "Hey, he's Asian. It's cool for you." And they was like, "Yeah, man, he's just Sally." And they were like, "Oh, okay, all right." So that's kind of what opened the door to, just cooking all together and stuff.
Yeah. So when you're building this brand on social media on probation, did you have any trouble with the probation officers?
Yeah, I did actually. Because one time I went to the probation office and I didn't record her, but I recorded me talking to her. And then so the next time I went in, she was like, "Hey, it's a federal crime to record unauthorized inside of a court building or something like that." And I was like, "Really?" And then they're like, "We seen your video. My coworker showed me." And she was like, "Hey, that's your voice." She was like, "Yeah, delete that because if they want to, they could take you to court or something like that."
What was the video about?
It was just talking to her like, "When's your next check-in? You been in any trouble? No. Police contacts? No. All right." Just like that.
Yeah.
It was just me checking in, just a quick short.
So how did your videos evolve from just like making the food to actually doing skits? Because now you incorporate other people. I've seen skits of you guys like running into a store, like doing
Oh
different
yeah, yeah.
things.
Um so I like to take trends and see how I can flip it into like a jailhouse way. That's kind of how it first started when someone was like looking at my future self putting on a fan while I sleep for the first time, and then now he's like addicted to having the fan on him, right? So I was like watching my future self about to commit his first felony, and so I did that one where I like jumped inside the car and everything and took it. I don't know, I have fun doing it, and I'm like, since I started, I was like, I don't want to do just jail food, like I do music, I'm athletic, and I like to act. So I was like, I'm gonna just try to bring everything together. I'm gonna try different things, see what pops, and then hopefully I can make it like because a lot of people told me, hey, you should only have one niche on your channel. And I was like, but there's so much stuff I want to do, create another channel. But I just been doing it all on my one channel, and luckily it's been having success. somewhat.
What do you think is like the favorite food item you've made that has responded the most with the audience?
Probably the wet burrito one, because every time I post it, it like does well.
You keep talking about that. Tell us about the
I
wet
know, bro.
burrito.
I don't know. It's
Whoa,
just,
what's
I'm
the
just
wet burrito?
that one was the one that made me go viral at first, and plus I ate that like I went in at 185 and got out at 230, all from like wet burrito and eating, bro. It was crazy. So
Tell us how to make it. Yeah, what's a wet
it's
burrito?
pretty easy. You put everything, your sausage, you get your summer sausage, your pickle, your chicharrones, soup, hot Cheetos, put it all in a bag, mix it well, like shake it all up, right? And then you take your chip bag and put the tortilla inside there, okay? So you have a tortilla inside a chip bag, and now you scoop it out. So if there's 4 people, you take 1 scoop and then pass it around, another scoop and pass it around. And then so we would all have our bags, and then put it in the hot water and then roll it up, and then so tortilla sits on top of that whole spread you just made. So when you cut it open, it's like a burrito that's like that. And then you could just cut into it, put your toppings, put some mayo or cheese or whatever on top, and eat it from that. And that would fill you up just with minimal ingredients, and we all
Yeah.
could throw in 1 bag of chips for people could eat from it. And so that's why I keep talking about it, because 1, it goes viral. 2, it's because of the visual of it. Like, you're throwing all this stuff in a bag and you're opening it and it comes out as a formed freaking edible burrito, and you could eat it. And when I don't know, it's a lot with the visuals too. Like, what? How do you do that? So that's why I say the wet burrito, because that was like sometimes when I'm like, man, it's not channel's not doing too good. Time for a wet burrito.
Yeah, it's always like you could always repost viral TikToks to
Yeah,
bring
but
it
I'll
back.
do it over. I won't even repost the same one. I'll redo the whole recipe again. Just maybe.
And it just does well.
Yeah, I'll throw in like maybe say something different at the beginning, or throw in different chips this time.
Yeah. Did you guys have like the shebang chips too, or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Those best.
Yeah.
Dude, I put up a post on Facebook. I was like, if you know, you know, because I went into one of those exotic food stores. They had the bag of chips. They were selling it for like $8.
Damn.
I was like, if you know, you know, and it
Yeah.
blew up because it relates to so many people.
Yeah, when I used the whole shebangs, I think I made a mofongo with the whole shebangs. People were like, "Oh man, I don't know about them whole shebangs." They were like, "Where do you get those from out here?" I had ordered a box from eBay. It came like 20 of them.
Yeah, you can get them on Amazon. They're crazy priced when you
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but that's so cool.
Paid like $35 or something for those.
So how much time when you're making one of these videos that we see, how much time behind the scenes filming goes into these videos?
Oh man, a lot, bro. Like more, cause like some people would be like, "Hey, can you do a quick? Can I be in your jail video real quick if you do one real fast?" I'm like, "Bro, they're not quick. Even though it's 60 seconds, it's a lot, cause I have an up camera and then I use my phone, and so I have to do like throwing everything on the ground, getting that. Step 1, opening the bag, boom, then crush, check the camera, make sure the sound and everything is good. I want to get the sound and the quality is good. So like I'm really like intricate, and I try to like what is it called? Like almost like a perfectionist. I be looking, like, trust me, I overthink it sometimes. My girl be like, doesn't even matter. But yeah, that's kind of what, like, I don't know. I just be overthinking it too much.
Have you come up with recipes that you never used in prison before, just from being like,
Yeah.
wow, this could be
Yeah,
a good
because
creation?
Because that's how prison recipes like work. You learn how to do this with one, and then you're like, oh, you do that with this ingredient. Let's make this, and that's kind of like I made Laffy Taffy in there, right? And then and for the videos, I've done the Crystal Laffy Taffy where I put Jolly Ranchers in it. I've done the Charleston Chew, Abba Zaba. Abba Zaba, I did that in jail though, but I did the Charleston Chew. So like, I didn't do the Charleston Chew in jail, but I was able to make it out here because using the ingredients. I'm just thinking like, what? Sometimes I'll see food, like I'll be driving or at a store and I'll be like, hey, I can make that jailhouse style.
Yeah, I mean, you ever see those videos where it's like they bring the McDonald's to the executive chef and they're like, turn this into a nice cuisine?
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to do that with Nick Giovanni, what's his name?
Oh, the Italian guy, or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one that's in that does the pasta and the Italian food?
Yeah, I was like,
that'd be
or
perfect.
like Gordon Ramsay or something
Yeah,
like that. Or
that's what
even-
you need. Have you
Yeah.
had celebrities reach out to you at all with your channel?
Just that the biggest one was the face rug one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, let me see. Back in the day, I've had some, but it wasn't like anything notable. it was just people that like I would follow that had a lot of followers, but
Mhm.
nothing like celebrity wise.
Now tell us about the tools, the unique ways people would make tools
Oh,
in
did I bring
prison.
it?
Oh, you got a
Oh,
souvenir?
oh yeah. Look, check it out. This is our inmate vending card.
Oh, this
And
is
if you look
awesome.
at the bottom, you can
You,
see it's how
you
it's.
use this to cut up a
That's
sausage.
it right there.
Your ID card can cut up a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And we would get like metal plates made for to cut an onion.
Right.
People would make a cutting board. You would get that not as weapons, but they would use that.
For cutting.
Yeah, for cutting.
Cutting
Like
food.
every inmate had its own kitchen set that he would get personally made.
Because I used to use the little razors to cut things,
Yeah,
and
you
once
pop
that
'em
guy
out,
came
yeah.
in, he was like, "Hey, if you use this, it's a lot better." Hey, so I was speaking of the prison IDs. You know, in Texas, do you know what kind of IDs they give you?
No, what do they give you?
I want to show you. They call it offender. So and over here it's like inmate or whatever.
Yeah, down south they refer to everyone as like offenders.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So my card had my picture on it and it said TDC offender, right? So that's all the ID I had. So I'm coming to California with that, right? And people are like, offender? What kind of offender, bro? And I'm like, oh, it's just inmate, bro. Like I had to explain to everybody, man. I even like I used it to get into a club, and I remember I was like, yeah, it's my prison ID, and they're like, offender.
Yeah, those prison IDs work just as good as
Yeah, it has
a
your
driver's
birthday
license.
and everything on it. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was getting out and I had to go on the plane back, I had to use that.
Mhm.
And I've been doing a lot of traveling lately for the show, and I sometimes now at the airport I see the guy with the white net bag
Yeah.
just getting out with his paperwork. I've seen coming here, I saw a DOC guy, and then the other week it was a federal guy, and I'm like, wow, that was me.
Yeah. They're getting out extradited or they're getting out?
No, I think either getting out in the Fed. I don't know if states do
Oh, you did Fed
furloughs.
time.
I did Fed time, but in the Feds you could get a furlough, or you're either getting out or going to the halfway house on the plane.
Is it Virginia? You went to Virginia?
No, I was in Connecticut, and then
Oh,
I was I flew back from Wisconsin when I was in. That's where I did the last about
How much time did you do again?
almost 3 years.
Oh, okay. Is it crazy over there?
It's
Because it's feds, right?
yeah. I was in Lowe's and camp, so it had its moments,
Yeah.
They all thought I was a chomo, a
Oh
sex
my
offender,
gosh.
because of the look.
Yeah. So you gotta be
But,
like, hey,
hey,
bro, check my paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. But like you, it was the best thing that could ever happen to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't be here right now talking
Yeah,
if it
exactly,
wasn't for
man.
prison.
Yeah.
Like it just opens up so many doors. And the other thing I've learned about like prison food too is the certain things you can apply on it that enhance a meal. For example, pickles on
Yes.
nachos is the best thing
Yep.
I've ever tasted.
Oh, yeah,
Or
for
in
sure.
a burrito, my friends call me weird when I say that. And mackerel, you put mackerel
Yeah,
on
mackerel
pizza,
too.
nachos, and I learned about the cold nacho. It's literally
cold
nachos but cold. Like you melt your cheese and then you add all cold toppings. I've never heard of that before.
Never had that.
You got to try. See, I gave you one.
Yeah, I gotta
Do
check
you
that
do
out.
desserts on your thing? I know you did the
Yeah,
taffy.
I do
I was a
everything, man.
cheesecake man in prison.
Oh, okay. I did
So,
cheesecakes
yeah, I
too.
would make non-bake. I've never heard of this before I went to
Yeah.
prison. And you use the creamer and the lemon juice to lock it up.
Yeah.
Did you
Well, I
guys?
used Sprite
Oh, you guys use.
and creamer.
Oh, interesting. And you would use the full thing of the coffee mate.
Yeah, pretty much. And then cream cheese.
Did you guys have the commissary cream cheese that didn't need to be refrigerated?
No.
So you would have to
We'd
smuggle
have
it
to
out
get
the
it from
chow.
the kitchen workers.
Yeah, so we had that. It was like $2. It was gross, but it
Mm.
was cream cheese, not refrigerated. Or when I worked in the bakery,
Not refrigerated.
not refrigerated.
How does that work?
I guess it's the same as like the cheese spread. That's
Oh,
not
okay.
refrigerated.
Kinda
Like
the
the
mayo too, I think.
yeah,
they give
mayo's
you.
not. It's like that.
Oh.
But when I worked in the bakery, we would smuggle out Philadelphia logs.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
when you had that, and it was always harder to work into it. It was really crazy.
Yeah, if you let it sit out for a bit, like it
Yeah,
gets
I
soft-
guess
it gets
so.
really soft. That's what we'd have to do.
Have you made a BLT pizza?
No,
Dude, you got to try it.
really.
Dude, so good. You take your tortillas.
Okay.
How did you guys make pizza crust in the microwave if you had one?
Well, we didn't use. I never did the pizza in the microwave. We would do it with ramen and crackers and
How do
make
you
crust.
how do you make pizza crust with that?
You just crush up the ramen and then the crackers, throw in some seasoning, and then start flattening it out, and it turns into a bread. And throw your tomato
gotta
sauce.
try that.
So it's not like a pizza you can actually hold too much, but you get your slice and then you can eat into it.
So how we made
Pepperonis
pizza in
and
the
stuff.
feds because we were spoiled with the microwaves
Yeah.
is you have your tortillas
Okay.
and you take water and you dip the tortilla in it and press the tortillas together so they kind of lock themselves like glue. And
Mm.
then you form a little bit of a square or circle, and then you'll cut your crust off so it squares it up or put a circle
Okay.
if you want. Then you put it in the microwave and you put it on for like 30 seconds so it gets a little hard. And then you put your cheese on. So now you have this crust with the cheese, or you could add sauce.
Mm.
But the BLT pizza is you pop this out, you have your cheese melted on the tortillas,
Mm.
and then you'll add a mixture, and you add bacon too. We had the bacon strips that were
Yeah.
already cooked.
Uh-huh.
Then you add lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, and oil, and salt and pepper and ranch dressing in
Damn.
a bowl mixed up. And so when that pizza comes out with your cheese, your bacon, and your tortilla, you throw that on top. Yeah, with some hot jardinera.
Woo!
Dude,
Hey, that
make
sounds
a
like it's
video with
busting
that.
for
Yeah.
real. Yeah, hey, I'm on. Yeah, okay.
Dude, that's a good one. And make that in the recipe book.
So you put the tortillas, you wet them so they can stick together, and then you
Yes.
heat them up and they turn into a hard crust.
Exactly. Only you don't want to overcook it because then it gets, well, that's how it gives it the crunch. But you
Right,
don't want to
right.
burn it because it burns in the microwave. And you put your
Okay.
cheese to help lock it together. And what's cool, you do a stuffed crust. So if you,
I seen a stuffed crust
Yup.
video. I've never done that before.
yeah, you can tighten it like that. And that's how they would make sometimes mofongo with the burrito tortillas. And then what we would also do is you put sazon in the water. So now your crust is getting flavored.
Right,
And
right.
you would take like your wet fingers and rush it around. So it's like a red crust now with the sazon.
Damn.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds.
busted.
Yeah, no, I know. I've seen a couple federal meals. Like, yeah, y'all be getting down over there.
Yeah, I mean, you get your hot water dispenser.
Hmm.
They call it the 190. And then,
Is it the
no, it was built into the
Oh,
unit.
that's how they got it in Orange County. Like, it's a red
Yup.
spout. And you put boiling water.
Yeah, that thing's hot. That's how you get your ramen done or
Yeah.
coffee.
Mhm.
And then we'd have a microwave, like 3 or 4 microwaves, and those things were running nonstop.
I
You
bet.
get there at as soon you have to race down there if you're cooking a meal
Mm.
to get to those microwaves.
Everybody want to cook.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
guys
I
are
bet.
frying rice like bowls.
Mhm.
They keep opening it up like it's crazy.
That's crazy. How much stuff like
Yeah, you could that fried rice is incredible.
I've actually where was I that had a microwave? I don't know if it was Texas because I had to do time in a detaining center for
Detention
the
center.
immigration thing.
Yeah. Oh,
'Cause-
you were
'cause-
in an ice unit?
Bro, it's so dumb. It's because I was born in Okinawa, Japan,
telling me,
and my
yeah.
birth certificate says born in U.S. Naval Hospital, Okinawa, Japan. My dad's in the Marines, but when I came over, I got my social and everything, and then they forgot to like put me as a permanent or apply for permanent resident or something. So then I went all these years, and then so when I started getting in trouble, they were like, "Oh wait, hold on, we got to see." So they made me stay for 3 months inside of a detaining center over there. I was like, "Where are they gonna deport me to?" My mom's Thai, my dad's Cuban, so I'm like, "What the hell? I've never been nowhere else, you know."
Wow.
And then, but after 90 days, or 60 days, I think, they were like, "All right, you're gonna get released. You just have to check in once a year." So that's what I'd be doing now.
Those ice units are terrible.
Actually, the one I was in was super nice. Bro.
Really?
It was
Oh.
like brand new, and they had microwaves, like 4 microwaves. Everything was new. Like I was like, wow.
So you have to check in for the rest of your life?
I think so, man. Unless
Really?
I don't know, I gotta get a lawyer to
Do you
work
have any
on
other
this stuff.
court hearings or anything scheduled? That's
What-
so weird.
Yeah, I gotta get a lawyer, man. I had a lot of court hearings back in the day, but I ended up getting locked up, and those just went in the wind.
Yeah, I mean, when you get locked up, time just kind of like stops for you. Every time is going through everywhere else.
Yeah,
But just like there's so much to keep up with.
I know.
Cards, like I really had nothing when I went to prison, but now like just bills, everything. I don't know what I
Yeah,
would
now
do.
if I was to go, I mean, I had to start over. So it's like you got to start over every time. you know?
Yeah.
I've had to start over like 5, 6 times, man. It sucks.
So now I gotta ask you this: the bussin' thing. Where does that come from? How did you even come up with saying that? And what's the meaning with bussin'?
Actually, it's with my son, man, because he'd be like, "Oh, that's bussin'," and then I started saying it with him, and then because he would see like the younger kids on TikTok say bussin' or whatever, and they say bussin', and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," and I was like, "Oh, that's bussin'," and then I just ran with it.
So bussin' means good.
Yeah.
And then you'll say this is
Some people will
bussin'.
say it's just for food, but I mean, I use bussin' for like, oh, that watch bussin' for real. And I just use
So
it.
at the end of every video, do you always rate it bussin' or disgusting or no? Or is it
The
just
gel videos, well, usually if I make it, it's gonna be bussin', you know. But if I'm
Mm.
trying something else, I'll see if it's bussin' or disgusting. But a lot of people been telling me you gotta make something that you don't like and say disgusting at the end. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, why would I make something I don't like? You know?
Maybe something like a mackerel or something. Guys would like pop open a patch and just drink the juice, or
Oh, I
that's
tried
gross.
that. Yeah, it's too thick. But the mackerel's good when he made this ceviche. It was with carrots, crushed
I
carrots,
saw the video. I think you did something like
pickle
that.
juice, the mackerel, and I think some tuna. He even threw some sardines in there, and it was like legit. It was crazy.
That's
Ain't no
awesome.
way you made ceviche.
What are like the top desserts you can make, or that you've made in general? I know you said cheesecake and the taffy.
The cheesecake, and then of course the jailhouse cake. I think it's called the steak cake. Everyone,
I saw
so you
that.
just
Yeah.
mix everything together.
Ice cream.
Sweets, yeah, and then just kind of press it out. Um, and then also the steak cakes with the icing on top. So probably those were made the most was the cakes because
How do you
like
make ice
everybody.
cream? Icing.
I was just you just scraping the so you get the Oreo cookies. You
Yeah.
scrape out the inside
Oh.
and then put the cookies in one, put all the icing on the other, and then put creamer and then a little bit of Sprite, mix it up and put it in a little bag and squeeze out the corner. you
I
know?
never thought to use Sprite. That's so genius.
Yeah, Sprite. It's because it makes it like I forgot what they put in food to make it fluffy or like fluff up, but it kind of makes it fluffy too. Like if you're gonna make it with the cheesecake, it'll make the crust a little fluffier.
What do you think are the top ingredients that are common among most prison dishes that are like used?
Ramen,
Yeah.
hot Cheetos, um, summer sausage maybe, or
Yeah.
because you gotta have a meat source or the
Yeah.
chicharrones. Yeah. What about over in the feds? What was there?
Yeah, I think definitely like mayonnaise was a base
Oh
sazon.
yeah,
Mrs.
mayonnaise.
Dash. We were spoiled with a lot of the
What is
seasonings.
Mrs.
It's like a
Dash?
salt and pepper with herbs type of mix.
Oh, it's a seasoning.
Yeah, it's a
Oh, okay.
seasoning, and then your you would either for your meats, your summer sausage, your mackerel. They had chicken pouches, or they had
Yeah.
spam. You fry up the spam,
Yeah, it's
so
fine.
those were good. Those were kind of like your basics. If you were lucky, you had olive oil. Some commissary sold olive oil.
Yeah, I remember like someone was telling me that they get like soy sauce and
Yeah, we have soy
everything.
sauce,
Wow,
cheese.
that's crazy.
Dude, it's
You get everything,
we
man.
have probably the feds has more condiments than the state.
Mm.
Sriracha. Every meal I'd go with a bottle of Frank's Red or
Mm.
sriracha or the sweet chili sauce. You put that in the meal, makes everything
I
better.
used to carry I think it was a Louisiana hot sauce when I was in Texas too. I had to bring that because the
Yeah.
food they give you was so plain when you go to
need
chow.
it,
Yeah.
dude. It's never seasoned.
Either take that or a seasoning packet from your ramen, and
Yes,
just
that's
sprinkle
perfect.
that on. Yeah.
So, what's next for you, man? Like, where do you go from here? What do you have on the horizon?
So I want to get the book out and be working on the book, and
What's the book going to be about?
it's gonna be kind of with the recipes of what I've made and also a story behind of how they got created and just where I'm at with or how I felt trying all those for the first time. A little story on my back life, so it's kind of a story of my life and little motivation and inspiration to keep someone going through this particular or similar situation as me. It'll help them out a little bit. Plus, give them some recipes to look. A lot of people's been asking for it since the beginning. Oh, you gotta come out with a cookbook, and I just didn't know how to go about it.
Yeah.
And I want to get some collabs. Maybe I'll get you one time. I want to
Yeah, we
do
gotta
different
do
collabs
something.
with bunkies and be like, hey, Bunky, I'm gonna make this, and then have them come in, and it's just a little quick collab, and I want to get out. I want to meet people and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to doing some stuff with you, man. I think
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
be
for sure.
incredible. I didn't even think of it until we connected today.
Yeah, that would be so cool too.
Definitely, I think there's a lot that could be done there.
Mm-hmm.
There's just like this whole world of like I feel like whoever taps into the prison content influencer market like makes a reality TV show or whatever, it's going to be huge because there hasn't been like that. And
Right.
right now the world's kind of like hesitant because it's like, oh, the person went to prison, this and that. But when that breaks free, it's entertainment. It's the next Jersey Shore. It's the next
All
anything.
those, I mean, look how Cops does. Looks how 60 Days In does and Locked Up Abroad. Like those videos, those shows do so good. And people want to learn all this stuff.
Have they ever asked you to go on 60 Days In?
I think I did get something for 60 Days In, but I just feel weird going into that because I'm like, doesn't that make you kind of like a snitch almost or a rat? Because you're going in and you're kind of showing what they're doing. So I don't know. It's kind of iffy on that, but I've had a couple people ask me
Well,
about
that
it.
and you also have to take that much time off of making content,
Yeah.
which it's not worth it
Right.
to
Right.
necessarily
Unless
do.
they're gonna compensate you that much to make up for all your work, and I
Yeah.
wonder if you could take. I don't know. I
Now,
don't
with the
know.
recipe book, do you think that there'll be people that haven't went to prison that'll try to make these recipes just to get to
Yeah, I've
see?
I've had people in comments and people send me pictures. Hey, I made it. Look, that's never been to jail. Or they're females or they're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
No,
like, hey, these are struggle meals. Also, they're not just jail meals.
it really is. There
Yeah,
was a couple times I come back from a long trip, I make a little ramen.
quick and
Quick.
satisfying.
It's so good. Do you drain your water or you leave it in?
Um, I leave about mid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Well, growing up, I would always leave it in, but
hmm
then the noodles are pretty good without
Yeah,
it.
I've once I came to jail, that's when I learned that if you didn't use too much water or whatever, less water, it's good too, like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
last question for you: How did you get the nickname Dpeezy?
Oh, bro. So I've had that since I was like back in high school, or yeah, back in high school when I was in football.
Hmm.
So my last name's Faitai Song. So they used to be like, they would butcher it all the time, Faitai Song or Paitai or whatever. So my coach, he would just be like, DP or Daniel P. And then so I just had a bunch of friends that were like, hey, Dpeezy, Dpeezy. And it just started like that. And then I was just like, all right, let's go with Dpeezy then.
Dude, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well,
And then what's crazy is the 2099 on my name. When I was like 16 years old, I was thinking like, what can I put? And then I remember seeing like the futuristic Spider-Man or Venom, and it says 2099 Spider-Man.
yeah.
So I put DPZ 2099, and it's been with
Okay.
me since, man.
I thought that was just like a random one because the other DPZ account was taken or something.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Hey, you from the 209 area?" And I'm like, "Nah, it's not. That's not what it is."
That's awesome, man. Well,
Yep.
DPZ, thank you so much for coming, man. I'm
Hey,
glad we could finally do this. And
thank you for having me, man. I
y-
appreciate you. Yeah, this has been a long
absolutely.
time coming. I think that we've been trying to get this going for a while.
Yeah, definitely, bro. And I appreciate you collabing and being so responsive about everything. And
Yes,
definitely,
sir.
we're gonna be in touch, man. We're gonna get something
Okay.
rolling.
Hey, man, let's make
Yeah,
it happen.
let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Bunky.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Bunky.